we will move on to our final presentation. And last but not least, as they say, this is an exciting one, which is with PAF 509, Public Affairs Capstone. The faculty is Malcolm Goggin and LaDawn Lingard, excuse me. And Malcolm is joining us. He has worked with one graduate student, Justin Sykes. I hope I said that correctly. If not, please correct me. And this was kind of an interesting project with regards to safe battery storage. Basically, it's vital to reducing extreme events and ensuring the safety of first responders and residents. And so the storage of batteries, particularly 9-volt batteries, have led to house fires due to unsafe storage practices. And Justin has been working with Peoria's fire medical department to examine safety considerations around battery storage. So with that, I will turn it over to Malcolm to provide an introduction, and then we can go ahead and start with Justin's presentation. So Malcolm?
Okay, so before I introduce Justin, I'd like to say a little bit about the course. It differs, it is similar to the courses we just heard from in the sense that it's the last course in a master's in public administration program. And in my case, there are no group projects. Every student in the class, in this semester, it's been about 16 students. Normally it's 20. Every student in the class designs and carries out his or her own project. And just to give you a little sense of what that means, the capstone course starts with each student submitting a very brief proposal for what he or she wants to do during the course of the semester. We read it, approve it, or ask for a redesign, or not approve it, and they go back to the drawing table. LaDawn Lingard, who is my teaching assistant, I'm not sure she's on, she said she might not be able to make it, but she does a lot of the reading of the details and doing a lot of the feedback. Once the student has an approved project, then it works independently. There's no group project, and submits a prospectus with the client, and then the next part of the project is a draft of the first 3 sections, which is an introduction, a literature review, and a methods section. He gets feedback from us on that, and then goes back and works on the final sections, which would be the findings and recommendations. And that's what Justin will summarize for you today. So I look forward to his presentation, and I'm looking forward to reading and grading his final report, which is probably a 25 to 30 page double-spaced paper.
Great, thank you, Malcolm. Wonderful. Well, we will hand it over to Justin for his video presentation. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. My name is Justin Zisk. I'm a graduate student here at Arizona State University, studying for my Master's of Public Administration. My project will be on safety concerns surrounding battery energy storage systems in a residential setting. This project not only is for Project Cities, but it's also going to be my capstone project as well. So the agenda, I'll go over some background information that will give rise to what the problem is. I will then identify what that problem looks like. We'll go over some foundational knowledge, talk about the research broadly, go over my findings, and then talk about my recommendations. So a little bit of background. This is a battery storage facility that was located in Surprise, Arizona. back in 2019, there was an event that resulted in an explosion. That event caused from an internal battery failure. Inside these facilities are a whole host of batteries. One of those batteries had an internal failure. It then caused a chain reaction of failures, leading to ultimately an explosion. As you can see, there was catastrophic damage internally as well as externally. There was also injuries to personnel, 4 of whom were seriously injured. Given the APS incident, the problem as a result was, what are the implications of this in the residential setting? In order to direct my research, I came up with these 3 research questions. What city codes are in place at other municipal agencies in regards to battery storage? How can Peoria improve its current storage protocols based on case studies and implemented national best practices? And then, are there any educational programs in place that can be adapted for the city of Peoria? Some foundational knowledge. On the left is a picture of a basic schematic of the components of a battery energy storage and solar energy storage system. You'll have your solar panels on the roof. The arrows indicate the flow of energy. The energy then goes to the inverter, which is sent to the electrical panel. That electrical panel provides electricity to the home. Any excess energy that is not being used then gets converted or inverted to the battery, where it is stored to be recalled at a later date. And on the right, you'll see a picture of the components installed inside a home. On the right, you'll have your components such as your electrical panel, your inverter, and your master control computer system. On the left, those 2 boxes, those are the batteries. Generally speaking, there are 4 main types of batteries that are found in residential and commercial solar energy storage setups. Those are lead acid, nickel cadmium flow, and lithium ion. Lithium ion is one of the most common battery types found in this setup, both commercially and residentially. It will also be the focus of my research and my research paper as well. In my research, I found that there were 3 commonly referred to events that resulted in damage or degradation of the battery, which could lead to damage and dangers. Those are accident, like a disaster, abusive loading, overcharging, undercharging, fluctuations in charges, and then overheating. Overheating can lead to a propagation of the problem and ultimately to structure and life dangers. I'm not going to spend too much time on this slide. What I want you to take away from this is that these are typical milestone events. It is a flow chart of those events. And the common denominator here is thermal runaway. You'll see them in both pictures on the left and the right. So all roads lead to thermal runaway, which is essentially a battery failure mode wherein exothermic reactions go out of control due to the increasing temperatures. Basically what that means is all the chemical reactions occurring inside the battery are no longer able to be contained, and so they have to go somewhere, and outward is where that goes. So at this point, toxic gases, some of which are flammable, are released. Flames can ignite due to the high temperatures and the flammable gases present. This can lead to nearby components, whether that be other components to the system or other batteries being added to the mix, and then explosions can occur from all of these cascading effects. My overall findings, overwhelming majority of cases in the residential setting resulted from failures of the panels or the wires transferring energy from the panels to the inverter. This is not to say that the battery cannot be the leading cause or cannot be a cause of the problems. Overwhelming majority of them are not battery related. In the cases where batteries are the problem, it's typically a result of installation problems, either incorrect installation or failure to properly maintain the battery system, which can lead to degradation and failure of the battery. There is an active recall. It is voluntary. I tried to get information regarding that recall. My requests were denied by the Safety Commission because it is an active and ongoing recall. Since the APS incident, Peoria, as well as several other local and national cities have implemented their renditions of solar system fire codes. Peoria's fire code is a direct mirror image of the national best standards fire codes that were first implemented in 2018. So not only are Peoria and several other local cities fire codes pretty much new, so too are the national standards that all other cities use to implement their own safety codes. And then I also found a training program based in Vegas that I will use as one of my recommendations. So with that said, let's go on and talk about my recommendations. So I mentioned that Peoria, their city codes in this instance, their Chapter 9 city codes are a direct reflection of the 2018 version of the International Fire Codes, National Best Practices and Standards. Those codes are updated every 3 years. And so the 2018 version is no longer the current version. This is important to note because there were some changes from 2018 to 2021 as it relates to storage systems that I think should be updated in your codes. Those are refining of language as it relates to new technologies and applications that have since been implemented post 2018. And then there's also some language added in there to talk about commissioning and decommissioning of this product or setup, which is important as well. I also recommend reaching out to Richard Burt. He is pictured in the picture above. He is the creator and the trainer of that SAFE training program that I mentioned on the previous slide. SAFE stands for Solar and Fire Education. It is a free program. He will come to you, he'll bring that training aid that he's standing next to, and he will discuss the implications, the safety concerns, approaches to problems as it relates to solar energy storage and systems in general. I would also consider building your own battery energy storage training aid to keep in-house. This way you can use it for refresher training with a hands-on visual component. You can not only use this for refresher training, but if you ever in the future wanted to implement a Citizens Academy to pass on the knowledge and protocols to your citizens, you can use that as well. So with that said, I will take any questions that you might have.